What's up, guys? In today's video we're going to continue on this series and we're going to work on the individual project pages. So it's not going to be too complicated to do these. It's a fairly simple layout, but let's go ahead and jump on into the project. Alright guys, I've got the project up and running here. I've started the server. And we're on the projects page right now. So we've got all of these fake projects set up in here. And that's fine for right now, but we're going to go ahead and continue working on the styling for this page real quick. It shouldn't take long at all to finish up. And then we are going to go ahead and work on the sub page here that doesn't quite exist yet. And then if we have time, maybe we'll switch over and finish up this information page real quick. Well, I say finish up, but we don't even have the file created yet, so we'll get to that. Let's go back here. Okay, so let's pull up the code for the projects, and this is what the project is looking like. We're looping through all of the projects in the site. That's fine, but there's a few things that we want to do here. We need to create a unique class for each and every project. So before we do that, let's go ahead and fix this real quick here. I'm just going to add site.base URL. All right, so what do we have to do to add a unique class to the project? Well, let's first off start by creating the class section here, and I'm gonna give this a class of project first off. Okay, project, so that way they all have that class of project. But let's think about what is one thing that's always going to be unique to every single project. Well, that is going to be the title of that project. No project is going to have the same title as another one unless you intentionally do that for some reason to try and screw up the system. But anyways, that's one thing that will be unique, so we're going to go ahead and use that. So let's go ahead and write this right here. It's going to be project dot title, so we're pulling that title, and then we're going to say slugify. So that's it. Every project is going to have a unique class as long as the project title is unique, which it should be for every project. Not in this instance where we made all of them the same because we just duplicated the file over and over and over again, but it will work, trust me. Okay, the next thing we want to do is check for something in the Frontmatter. We want to check and see if we have told Jekyll that, hey, look, this project needs to have white text because the color is just too light behind it whenever we use a project color. Because again, let me pull up the design. This is what we're trying to create here. Each project is going to have its own color associated with it, and that's why we need all those unique classes. And if that color happens to be too light, we need to tell, or too dark, we need to tell Jekyll, hey, look, we need light text instead of black text. So let's come back over here and finish writing this. So I'm going to say if project dot light text equals true, and I'm hoping this doesn't go off the screen here. Let me do that. If it equals true, we need a space after that. So we're going to write the light text, and that's what the class name is going to be. Where this is not the Frontmatter variable. And then we're going to go ahead and end that just like this. So it's going to be end if. So now we're checking to see if in the Frontmatter of that project it has light text set to true. I know that doesn't exist yet, but we haven't really gotten to the individual project files. We're kind of just figuring out what exactly we need and adding that in here. All right. So that is pretty straightforward right there, I think. I don't think that's anything too complicated. But now we're gonna go ahead and we're gonna write something for CSS for these projects so that we can get those individual colors and make sure that we're implementing the light text if need be. Well, the light text we might do that later. We'll see. We'll see. All right, let's go ahead and get started with creating some CSS here. Okay, so to do this the way that we need to use Jekyll, so we're going to put it in the HTML. So let's go ahead and start with a style tag. And I'm just going to say type, text CSS, and close out the style tag. All right, so we need to do a couple things here. We need to first loop through all of the projects. So we're going to say for project in sites.projects. Now I know this is all highlighting weird, but that's just because we're putting it inside of an HTML file inside of a CSS or a style tag. So kind of just ignore that highlighting for now. Anyways, for project and site.projects. Okay, let's come here and that for. And then within there, we're actually going to do another check. So let's see here. If project light text equals true, all right, we're going to execute some code here. And then we're also going to do else in case it does not have light text equal to true. And then we need to go ahead and end that if statement. All right, so we are essentially going to put some code here to execute and here to execute. All right, let's go ahead and get started on adding that code in. So first, we're going to go ahead and grab our anchor tags. And yes, that we're writing this in CSS, not Sass. So don't forget all your syntaxes. So we're going to say anchor tag with the class of project dot title slugify. And we're going to say visited. That's not spelled right. Visited. All right. Now we're going to set some code in here. We're going to set the background color. And this is going to be equal to the project color that we aren't really using yet because we haven't gotten to those files yet, but just roll with me here. And then we're going to set the color to white because again, this is if light text is equal to true. All right, so we've got the anchor tag project.title slugify if it's visited. All right, now the next one we need, let's just copy this, is the same thing except instead of visited, we're going to say hover. Okay, so we want the hover to pull up that color as well. That's pretty simple and straightforward. The next thing we're going to do here, let's see, we need to do an active. And I'm going to actually leave the active the same way because I don't want it to change when you click it. I want it to be, well, I want it to show the color when you're clicking it. So on like a touch device, when you click it, you'll see the color before it takes you to that page. But if you're on a device with hover, you'll see the hovered color before it takes you to that page. So this is going to be pretty simple. For the next set, we're going to jump down here to in the else section, and we're going to write this same thing. Actually, what we can do is we can copy all of this because this is all going to be the same. And within here, we are going to just remove that color line, just like that. So that should be everything that we need for all of this styling. There's no errors here. Let's just refresh the page. So now you can see when I hover, let's pull up a project real quick. You'll see, oh, we did add this in here. Sorry, my bad. We're not just, it's not unique to everything yet. So anyways, we've got the project color and the text color, but this is going to change. This is going to be light text, and it's either going to be true or false. So say it's true for this one, and the project color is black. Okay, so let's come back over to the site here and reload this. All right. So as you can see, when you roll over this, it's checking those variables. Let's see. It's going to be project color, light text true. Should only be there for that. All right. Let's go ahead real quick, and I'm going to delete all of these duplicates just so we can take a look at everything and make sure it's all working properly. We'll just work with the one here. First off, let's refresh that. That's fine. Okay. So now let's go ahead and change the project color to black. And then let's set this light text to true and see what happens. There you go. Okay, so that's working perfectly fine. I think the only issue was we hadn't updated all those variables on the other ones, so it was confusing it. Anyways, nothing to worry about. So this is exactly what we need, and if you change this, you could change this to blue and refresh the page, and now it's blue. So that's all the CSS that we need to write in here to get all of that working on our projects page. So let's go ahead and close that out. Now, the next thing we're going to work on really quick is the projects. So we do have, we have the layout, we have the title, the location, the category, the project date, the project color, the light text. Another thing that we're going to be adding in here, but we're not going to do it just yet, it's going to be like the primary image and then the grid of images or list of images, however you want to think about that. But let's go ahead and change this from the default layout to a project layout. And now let's go ahead and go create that project layout. Okay, so I'm going to click on the layouts up here and create a new file and call it project.html. Okay, so this is not going to be a very complicated page either. We're going to add some Frontmatter here and set the layouts to default. And then inside here, we're going to create a div with a class of, let's go project content wrapper. All right, I'll close that out. And in here, let's go ahead and say include paginator.html, which is something else that we're going to have to create. And then div with a class of project content container. And I'll close that out as well. Okay. So in here, we're going to have, let's create another div. Give it a class of main project content. So this is going to be everything that's on like the left side. If I pull up the design and go to a project, that this is going to be everything over here. Okay. And then we're going to create another div after that for everything over here. So let's say div with the class equal to project images, and then we'll close this out. All right, so we're going to write some code in here, and we're going to write some code in here now. Let's first tackle this. We're going to have an h1. This is going to pull from the page.title. Then we're going to have a small. And within here, we're going to pull the page dot project date. All right. And then that's it for there. And then we're going to just say content here. So content. So anything that we write in the actual project files will be pulled into here. And that's really just going to be this information, because this, I think we might want to allow this to be changed in like a WYSIWYG. We'll see how that goes. If we change it in the future and use the Frontmatter, it's a really easy change. So before we continue and go down to the images, I have to come over to the gitignore file here and write this, because seeing this file here is really annoying me. All right. I don't want to see that. There we go. Okay. All right, so inside of this project images div, we're going to do a couple things. We're going to need the primary image. So this is going to be equal to site.base URL, and then assets, and then images, and whoops. And then it's going to be whatever our page.primary image is set to, which again, yes, we do have to create that. Okay. The width of this will be 100%, and then the height will be auto. Whoops, there we go. And close that out. All right, so that is our primary image. The next thing that we need to do is set up this like grid sort of deal here. So we're probably not going to do the grid exactly like this. It's probably just going to be, you know, a set of images here and a set of images here. We're going to keep it simple. We may change this, make it more complex in the future, but for now, we're going to just keep it simple. Okay, div with the class of image grid. Okay, close that out. And here we're going to check for item in page.images. Okay, and then we're going to end that. And then within here, we're going to write image source equals site.base URL assets images, and then this is just going to be item. Okay, And then we need to close this out. That should be good. So any images, because we're going to use like an array, so any images, or for however many images we have in there in this page dot images, we're just going to keep looping through this and adding a new image tag. So yeah, I think that is about it. If we were to come over and check this, you're going to see that we're running an error right here, and this is because we're calling for the paginator, which does not exist yet. So let's go ahead and create that paginator in the includes, and make sure that we've got everything that we need. Hit A, click, and paginator.html. All right, so this paginator is going to be fairly simple. Let's just go ahead and make sure that we're not getting that error anymore. No, we're not. So let's go ahead and write all the HTML for the paginator. So we're going to start with a div. I'm going to give it a class of paginator, and we're going to come back and do all this styling later, after we do this. All right, paginator. Close that out. All right. So we're going to go ahead and do an if statement. If page.previous.url. So if there is a page before this one in the list of projects, because we already looped through the projects elsewhere, we're going to execute this code, and then we'll end that. And the reason we're not doing an else statement is because if there is not, we just don't want to do anything anyways. So we're not going to do an else statement, because we need a separate check to see if there is a page.next.url. And then we can go ahead and end that one as well. And if, okay. So let's go ahead and write the code for here and write the code for here. So this is going to be an anchor tag with an href of site.base URL. Well, actually, let's just do it like this. Let's do site.url, then site.base URL, and then we'll do page.previous.url, and that should be good. And we'll just give this a class of paginator back. And I have the actual SVG code for these icons copied already, so I'm gonna just grab that real quick. But let's first close this out. So let's grab that code and paste it on in. That looks good. And let's copy that, paste it down here, and a couple things are going to change here. This is simply going to change to next. We're also going to update this to be next, and then it's just a different SVG here. So I'll copy that SVG code over and paste it in. Good. All right. So that should be everything we need for the paginator. Let's go ahead and make sure we're not getting any errors. No, we're not. We can go here, click on this, and you'll see we've got a couple things here. We've got the project name and all that jazz. So let's go back and see what we need to do from here. All right, so one of the problems we have is we are declaring, well, not really declaring, we're including the nav.html in the actual file, and I don't want to do that. It basically needs to be on every page aside from the index page. So we're going to remove that and copy it. We don't need that there. It's already not here. And we're going to go to the default layout and check to make sure we are not on the home page. So let's go ahead and write this right here. If page.url is not equal to /, then include the nav and then end if. And that should work perfectly fine. There we go. Here's our navigation. And it's not there anymore. Okay, so I totally forgot. One of the things with declaring those visited styles on an anchor tag, it's not going to apply this background color because we have not already set a background color on it before it had been visited. So don't worry about that. We'll wait once we get to the SAS real quick and add that in. It will work. So not to worry. That should be fine. Let's see what we need to do. We've got that. We need to go ahead and start with the styling. And I think that's all of the HTML that we're actually going to need right now. What should we start styling? Let's start on the actual project itself. So I'm going to close all these out so I can see what I'm doing. And let's, where should we go? Let's come in here and let's create a new SAS file. Let's name it project.sas, and that should be good. So we are in the project right now, and yeah, this is the page we're going to be styling. Okay, let's go ahead. Let's grab our project content wrapper, sorry. And let's just pull up the actual project layout so we can content wrapper, content container, main. Okay, all right. Let's look at the design. So I mean, first we need to go full width, and then we need to get the text styled over here. And then the image. Okay. Width, let's set this to 100%. We want height to be auto. We want padding to be 98 pixels from the top, 100 pixels from the right, the bottom, and the left. Let's do box sizing, border box. Max width, 1500 pixels, and then margin auto. Yeah, that looks pretty good. All right, now let's grab the project content container, and in here we're gonna say margin. Let's do 32 pixels on the top, 0 on the right, 0 on the bottom, and 0 on the left. Width of this will also be 100%, and this will be display grid, and we're gonna have grid template columns, 1FR and 1FR, pretty simple. Grid gap, we'll set this to 2rem. Okay, now let's grab our main project content, and we'll grab the H1 in there, set the font size to, let's see, did we go ahead and, I don't think we, no, okay, so what I want to do is I want to set a few different font size variables here, so we can just limit how many font sizes we're actually using. So I want font large, I want font medium, and I want font small. Large will be 1.5 rem. Medium will be 1.25 rem. And then small will be 0.8125 rem. Okay, so now we'll come back here and then we'll pull font large for that H1. All right, now that we got our font size set to large, another thing we want to do is set our font weight. So we'll set that to bold. Color will be the black variable. And then margin 0.5 rem and 0. Okay, small, and then we have paragraph. Let's grab our small font size. Now this is really simple. Font small. Font weight will be normal. Color will also be black. And the margin will be the same as well. Okay, next let's go ahead and grab our paragraph text, which yes, it does not technically exist yet, but that's okay. Margin for this will be 0.5 rem on top and bottom, and then 0 on left and right. The font size will be font medium. Font weight will be normal. And then we'll just set the line height to 1.5 rem. Okay. So let's see, what do we have here? We're gonna use an unordered list for this. So let's go ahead and set that styling. Won't take much time for that. We have a UL. List style will be none. Padding 0, and then an LI with a font size of font small, and then line height of 1.25 rem. Okay. All right, so that's gonna be it for all the text. We need to include this into or import this, I should say, into the directory stats file. And now come back here. All right, so there we go. We got our project name and all that there. So as you can see, this is limited in width, but now the nav is not. So we want to go ahead and add that max width to the navigation. Modules, nav, yeah, we can add this here. I think that, no, that doesn't work. So we need to change that just a little bit. All we need to do is add, we're not using margin yet, so we'll add margin auto. Now that should center. All right, now we go. There we go. That's always going to be in line. But then the projects page is also messed up. So let's go to the projects, and then the wrapper here, we will do max width 1500 pixels, but you also have to keep in mind that well, actually no, that's not gonna work just doing that because we're already using margin. So let's do a quick media query screen and min width 1500 pixels, and then at that moment we'll set the max width to 1300 pixels. Yeah, and then we'll set the margin to the same one. Well, let's grab this. Set the margin to the same thing here, except it'll be auto and auto. And that should do it. Let's come back and take a quick look. Yep, there we go. All right, let's get back into this project real quick. And let's go ahead and continue doing some styling. But before we do that, actually, one thing I did want to do is let's grab, while we're still in the projects.sass, let's grab that anchor tag here and say link, and then background, we'll just set the background to white. And now if we refresh and go back to the project page, you'll see it retain that visited color. All right, so jumping back into here, we need to go ahead and set the styles for these images that don't quite yet exist. So let's grab our code and jump back to project.sass. So let's come down here and grab our project images. Okay. And let's say display flex. Flex direction will be column. We'll align items to start. We'll flex start. And we'll justify content center. And then we need to grab our image grid. And as I said, I believe that's what we named it, right? Where's the layout? Yeah, image grid. Okay, so as I said, we're going to make this a little simpler. So we're going to display this in grid. It's going to be grid template columns. I come here. It's going to be 1FR, 1FR. The grid gap. I cannot spell grid for some reason. Grid gap will be 0. And align items will be stretch. All right. And then we need to set a couple of stylings on the images themselves. So let's go ahead and grab an image. And we're going to say width 100%. And then we're going to say object fit cover. And then we need to go ahead and grab the image and see if the last child is odd. So we're going to say nth child odd and last of type. So again, what that's doing is it's checking this. It's actually checking the last image in this image grid and seeing if it's odd. Because if it's odd, then we need grid column. We need to set this to span 2. All right, so that's looking good. Let's come back. All right, so let's go ahead and grab some of those images. So I actually have some images. Let me copy those real quick. So let's go ahead and see the change for change. So I'm going to come here to the images and paste these in. So those are the images that we need And then we're going to go ahead and jump over to our project, the actual project. And let's go ahead and make this like an actual project. So it's going to be change for change. And then a few things we're going to modify in here. We're going to set the title change for change. Location's fine. Brand identity's fine. The date is actually fine. This is going to change to be FFE74F. Light text for this will be false. And then we need to go ahead and set up our images. So we had called for primary images, so we'll set that. And it's going to be change for change, right? It's essentially going to be this. So copy and paste that in. All right, that works. And then the next thing that we're going to do is grab or set the images. And inside here, we're going to do this so that we can have multiple in here. So it's going to be up to 8. So that's going to be 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Save that. Let's come back and refresh. All right, we gotta go. Okay, change for change. So that's already working. There we go. There's all of those images. For some reason that CSS is not working here yet, but we'll fix that in a second. Let's go ahead and jump over to the project HTML and add in the actual contents of this. So I'm just copying from a text document here what was given. We need our UL and our LIs in here. And there's going to be a few things. So I'm going to cut to the end of me typing all of these in. All right, there we go. So that's all we're going to have in here. And let's jump back over to the actual project and we'll see this is working right here. Okay, so let's collapse this. All right, so there's a few things that aren't working and that need to be fixed up in the CSS for this project real quick. And then I think we can go ahead and end this video. My voice is getting a bit tired. Okay, so first off, the problem here we have is we indented that. So let's unindent that, come back here and refresh. There we go. So the last one spans the full width. And we need to go ahead and add a couple media queries down here at the bottom. So at media, screen, and max width 1000 pixels. We'll grab the project content wrapper and set the padding to 98 pixels, 1 rem, 50 pixels, and 1 rem. And then we're going to grab another media query right here. Media, screen, and max width, 700 pixels. And we'll grab the project content wrapper and then the project content container. And we're going to set the grid template columns to 1FR. So that should set a breaking point a little bit after the padding changes. All right, so 1000 pixels and then snaps to the edge. That's good. And then we go a little farther to 700 pixels and All right, it snaps to single column. Perfect. So that is the project page, and the project page is all done. The only thing that we have left to do is set the styling for the paginator for this. And then I think we can quickly move on to the information page. But let's go ahead and cut this for now and continue in the next video. Alright guys, that's going to be it for this video. Next week we're going to pick back up where we left off here. But if you guys like this video, give it a thumbs up. If it helped you, subscribe. And if you like the content that I'm creating on this channel, head on over to my Patreon account at patreon.com/Zachary R. Newton, where you can help support this channel and help me create better videos every week. Until then, I'll see you guys in the next one.